All right, we're starting a new unit, and this is page 1. We're talking about systems of equations. Systems of equations are two or more equations with the same variable. So, there's two ways we can solve systems of equations. We can do it with a graph, and it's the point where the two lines intersect or they cross. Or we can do it algebraically, and it's the point that makes both equations true. So, a systems of equations is when I have equations that make two lines, and where those lines cross is my solution, and it'll always be a coordinate on the graph. Unless I have parallel lines. Parallel lines never touch, so they have no solution. The other option is if I have an equation and it actually turns out to be the same exact line on top of itself, and that means I have infinitely many solutions. So you will see what we mean as we go through this. All right, these are the 3 steps when we are solving systems of equations. We are going to use the Grapher app. You're going to type both the equations in and graph them, and then you're going to write the x and y for where they cross. So I'm going to do this first one right here. So I'm in the Grapher app, and what I'm going to do is type in the 2 equations on the paper. I've typed them in. Then I'm going to go down here and click Plot Graph. When you do that, your graph will look like this. Your dot may be somewhere like right here, and you're going to have to hit these arrow keys to get it to be right there. When it is exactly where the red and blue lines cross, it tells you the intersection. So the x is 3 and the y is -5. Those two systems of equations cross at 3, -5. So back to this page, back to page 1. So this one crossed at 3, -5. Now I'm going to type these guys in to the Grapher app. Here they are typed in, and I'm going to hit Plot Graph. When I do, this is the picture I get. Your dot may be up here. I got to move it down to get right here where they cross. And that tells me where the intersection is, -2, 8. So you would go back and write -2, 8. For practice, I would like for you to do on your own 3, 4, 6, and 8. Type them in the Grapher app and get a coordinate. Your solution will always be a coordinate. When you are done with that, I need you to flip over to page 3. And we're just going to fill in the bottom. If a system of linear equations has one solution, what does that mean about the two lines? It means that the lines cross or intersect. If a system of linear equations has no solution, what does it mean about the lines? It means they're parallel. If a system of equations has infinitely many solutions, what does it mean about the two lines? They are the same exact line. Okay, now I've showed you how to do it on the Grapher app. Now I'm going to show you how you do it in the Equations app. So, step 1, type both of the equations in the Equation app. Step 2, click the Solve the System. Write the solution as a coordinate. So your answer will look like this on your calculator, but you will write -2, -9. If the system has no solution, like your calculator will literally say, the system has no solution, this means that the lines are parallel because they never cross. If you see a T or the words, there are an infinite number of solutions, like your calculator will literally say infinite, we know that the two equations represent the same exact line. So let's practice what we've talked about. Equations app, we're going to do number 1. We're going to put both those equations in. So here it is. I'm in the equations app. So I type both of these in right here, and then I go down and hit solve system. When I do, this is my solution, but we know we write it as a coordinate. This is number, I got ahead of myself, number 3 right here. Number 3, so I've typed in both of the equations. I'm going to go down here and hit solve the equation. When I do, that's my answer, but I write it as a coordinate. So, on this page 4, we just found the solution. For the first one, we got -2, -9. And for the second one, we got -1, -6. I would like you to do 2, 4, 6. Okay, we know that's supposed to be an 8. And 8. Type them in, read what your calculator says, write your coordinates. Thank you. Now we're going to move on to page 5. Page 5 are word problems, where we're going to write 2 equations, and then we just put them in the calculator. The sum of 2 numbers is 32. Okay, well, I know that sum means to add. So when it says 2 numbers, it really means I'm going to put a letter in. So I'm going to say x plus y, the sum of 2 numbers, equals 32. Their difference is 18. Okay, well, I know that difference means minus, so x minus y equals 18. I type these 2 into the equations app, and it tells me that x equals 25 and y equals 7. All right, number 2, you do exactly like I just did number 1. I want you to do number 2 on your own. We'll do the rest of this page together. Number 3 says the difference between 2 numbers is 6. Okay, so I know that means minus, so x minus y is 6. Okay. The first number plus twice the other number is 39. Whenever I see it is, I know that's going to be equals 39. The first number, well, the first thing I wrote was an x plus twice the other number. Twice means 2 times the other number is y, so it would just be 2y. We know there's a super secret times right there. You type both of those into your calculator, and you come up with 17 and 11. All right. The sum of the 2 numbers is 35. X plus y equals 35. The first number, so the first number minus twice the second number is 8. Well, we know the answer is going to be an 8 because it says is 8. the first number, that's our x, minus twice, we know that that's 2 times the second number, so 2y equals 8, okay? So I want you to type this in your calculator and tell me the coordinate. Okay, number 5. The sum of two numbers is 29. I feel like we got that part down. X plus y is 29. The difference between 4 times the first number and the second number is 6. That's terrible. We know the answer is 6. So let's see. The difference, we know that's going to be a minus between 4 times the first number. So 4x, 4 times x. Difference will be subtracting. And the second number, and y, equals 6. When I type those two equations in my calculator, I end up with 7 and 22. All right, one more on this page. The sum of two numbers is 25. X plus y equals 25. One number is twice the second number plus 7. Okay, one number. Let's start with the x. One number is, I always know I put an equal sign after an is, twice the second number, twice, so 2 times y plus 7. I want you to type that in your equations app and get an answer for that one. All right, this is the last page we're going to do. It's page 6. The cost of 4 boxes of pens and 3 boxes of pencils is $22.55. So before we start, I'm going to say that the X's are going to be my pens and the Y's are going to be my pencils. So before we start any of these, we're going to set up what our X and our Y is. So if I have 4 boxes of pens, so I have 4 X's and 3 boxes, so plus I have 3 boxes of pencils is $22.55. The cost of 3 boxes of pens and 2 boxes of pencils is $16.45. So 3 boxes of pens, we know that's our X, plus 2 boxes of pencils is $16.45. Type both of these into the equations app. And when you get that, it tells me that the X, which is my pens, equals $4.25. And my pencils, which is my Y, equals $1.85. All right. The cost of 12 oranges and 7 apples is $5.36. So we know we're going to have our X's that are going to be oranges. And our Y's are going to be apples. Okay, and we're going to figure out how, what they cost later. So 12 oranges, so 12 X's plus 7 apples, 7Y equals 5.36. That's my first equation. Second equation, 8 oranges and 5 apples cost $3.68. 8 oranges plus 5 apples, which is a Y, equals $3.68. When I type both of those into the equations app, it tells me that my X is 0.26, so oranges cost 26 cents, and apples are 0.32, so apples cost 32 cents. Gabby and Sydney bought some pens and pencils. Gabby bought 4 pens and 5 pencils for $6.71. So we're back to our pens And our pencil, and Y our pencils. Okay, Gabby bought 4 X's, 4 pens, plus 5 pencils, Y. It equals $6.71. Sydney bought 5 pens and 3 pencils for $7.12. So Sydney bought 5 pens plus 3 pencils, and she paid $7.12. I typed both of those in the equations app, and I actually would like for you to do that. Tell me what she paid for pens and what she paid for pencils. I also think that you can do number 10 on your own. You're going to have an X, which will be your large candles. And you'll have Y, which will be your small candles. So your first equation, at SL and Candles, Lexi bought 2 large candles and 5 small candles and paid $30. So that'll be your first equation. Carl bought 1 large candle and 3 small candles and paid $16.75. And then you will write your equations here and then tell me how much each candle cost. We'll do number 11 together again. So a garden supply center sells 2 types of lawn mowers. Okay, so we know we're doing motors. Small motors. So oh gosh, don't know what I did. Stop. Sorry. Okay. So we got 2 types of mowers. We got our small mowers. Cost $249.99. The large, so that'll be our Y. The large mowers cost $329.99. Okay, this one's a little different. It says a total of 30 mowers were sold. So I don't know how many of each, but I know if we added all the X's plus all the Y's, we would get 30. The total sales for the given year was $8,379.70. So that tells me that if someone pays $249.99 for all the small mowers, so times X, plus they pay the $329.99 for all the large mowers, so times Y, they will come out with $8,379.70. So when you type both of those all into your equations, it tells me that there are 19 small mowers that they sold, and they sold 11 large mowers. All right, follow all the directions I've told you in the video, do all the problems I've told you, turn them into me.